I'm Daniel Burstein, Director of Editorial Content here at Mech Labs. We are at Optimization 2012 in Denver. We are wrapping up the second day of the main summit, and we got some questions from our friend at Demand Gen Report, Amanda Batista, the managing editor over there. Fortunately, she couldn't be with us today, so she asked me to pull aside Dave Green, the Director of Best Practices here at Mech Labs, to give some B2B marketers a little bit of an insight about what happened here at Optimization Summit. So, first question from Amanda. What are the most important metrics for B2B marketers to be considering in today's buyer-driven landscape? What do you think, Dave, from what we're here today?
Well, you know, there's a lot of metrics, and I think for marketers, the challenge is focusing on the few metrics that really matter. You know, you could speak for a long time about the different metrics. Let me just talk about one that I think is very much overlooked and that I think is tremendously important for lead generation. That's the metric that I call the sales validated lead. Getting the feedback, not about whether the loop was closed, but what happened. Were they able to get through? If they did get through, were they in the target market? It usually breaks down to 4 or 5 things that can give you clarity about things you might do upstream with your demand generation efforts and qualification process. So I think if you're going to do anything, it's trying to put a focus on that. And there's a different set of things that will come up if you're taking leads straight to an inside sales team and there's not a telequalification rep. And there's another kind of step if there's a telequalification rep where you want to validate the telequalification part versus the sales validation part. So those are the things that I think are the most important metrics that I would really hone in on, all the things you can do.
Okay, and definitely one thing we learned here at Optimization Summit is no matter what your metric or KPI is, it's important to have one, right?
That's
because
right.
If you're optimizing, you have to optimize towards a goal, and sometimes marketers simply overlook that. They're just trying to throw up some changes, or they don't connect with sales and make sure that sales is getting what they need. So let's take a look at our, sorry.
And I was going to say, and what's the goal? The goal is to help salespeople sell more, right? So getting that kind of feedback from them can help you help them.
Let's take a look at our second question from Amanda. What are some of the key trends and imperatives in testing in optimization campaigns?
You know, I think the big challenge for a lot of B2B organizations when you're doing lead generation, there's been a lot of work, and a lot of it has come out of Mech Labs about the importance of minimizing the number of fields you capture. I think one of the big trends with testing and optimization, the trade-off with that, of course, is if you don't capture very much data, you get more people to respond, but you don't really know whether they're qualified and where they are in the buying cycle. I think one of the really great things that has happened in recent years with technology is reverse IP, where you can actually do real-time lookups and capture a lot of information that can help you better score and qualify and route the lead. I think that's a very big trend with optimization. I think it'll make a very big difference moving forward.
Okay, because that's a good point. We know you reduce the form fields, you're going to get more leads, they tend to be less qualified, sales tends to not be happy, they don't just want a name and a number, right?
That's exactly right.
But you're saying there are other ways to use technology to get that information that sales needs, and you also get those leads, and so you capture people, they don't bounce them, they see that really long form field asking, you know, how much they spend every year on different things and all these other questions.
Exactly.
Okay, the last question. Are there any particular case studies or anecdotal use cases that stood out at conferences this week's optimization summit?
Yes, you know, the first time I ever ran into the Mech Labs conversion heuristic was about 6 months before I joined the company. And one of the things that I've noticed is you learn new implications of that conversion heuristic. And I was talking to somebody here from PR Newswire who had leveraged that and gotten a 70 or 80% increase in the number of leads they got from their demand generation efforts. So I thought it was a real interesting validation, real-time validation of somebody that was here. And they walked away saying, you know what, I have some more ideas now that I understand it a little bit more deeply than I did before. So they're going to go back and they have some new hypotheses that they can test out.
And an 80% increase in leads, I assume that's career changing.
Yeah,
it's a huge increase. So.
Absolutely, they were overjoyed with the high volume of leads. So.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Dave. Those are some of the key takeaways from the Marketing Experiments MarketingSherpa Optimization Summit 2012 here in Denver. And if you'd like to learn more about some of these case studies or all of the takeaways from Optimization Summit in general, you can visit MarketingSherpa.com.